Three parents have came together like the Three Musketeers to put together one of the goofiest lawsuits I've ever seen. They're slapping that lawsuit right in Epic Games' face and saying that Fortnite is just too addictive. It's caused their kids to stop sleeping, eating, and even showering just to play the game. So they decided to take this all the way to the courtroom and sue the company. Now, before we start arguing about whether this is a parenting issue or simply a skill issue, I want to take you back to the year 2019 because this is where it all started. This is a lawsuit that was brought up all the way back in 2019. This headline right here says, Epic Games sued for not warning parents Fortnite is allegedly as addictive as cocaine. These parents are going balls to the wall with this lawsuit. They're shooting for the moon and beyond. Just straight up comparing Fortnite to cocaine, that booger sugar. And in this 2019 article, we learned that the parents' initials are FN and JZ, and they're the parents of a 10 and a 15-year-old. And basically, the argument is that the Fortnite is basically like a dopamine monster. It's just like preying on the children's brains and releasing dopamine to make them want to keep playing. Even going as far as to say that Fortnite was specifically developed to be the most addicting game possible. And back when that lawsuit was first put forward in 2019, nothing really happened with it. It kind of got stuck in courtroom limbo. That was until a couple days ago, about 2 days ago, when a Canadian judge took interest to it and finally approved it. Now let's hop into the facts of this court case. In the court filings, the parents noted that the World Health Organization recognized video game addiction in 2018, and they're using that to push it and say that this is a genuine thing that's actually happening. And the lawsuit obviously was made against Epic Games and its Canadian subsidiary. Epic Games, of course, responded and said that it had, quote, industry-leading parental controls that empower parents to supervise their children's digital experience, and, quote, parents can receive playtime reports that track the amount of time their child plays each week and require parental permission before purchases are made. And they also say they plan to fight this in court. They believe the evidence will show that this case is meritless. And I gotta say, you're reaching pretty daggone far if you're saying that a video game is addictive. Like, unless there's a roulette machine or like a gambling system in Fortnite, I don't really think there's a strong argument to be had for it being addictive, or else Trainwrecks would be playing it. But then again, it did get a Quebec Supreme Court member's attention, and he put it through. It's an actual legitimate court case now. I'm of course going to get to my stance on this lawsuit, but I want to give you a bit more statistics first. So it says that one of the children cited in this lawsuit played over 7,700 hours of Fortnite in the last 2 years. Actually, not even 2 years, less than 2 years. And just to put that into perspective for you, there's 8,760 hours in a year. So in those 2 years, that kid spent about 44% of his time playing Fortnite. The kid puts in more time on Fortnite than a Discord moderator puts in grooming his kittens. It's absolutely absurd. And I guess the Quebec Supreme Court justice who approved this, their name is Sylvain Lucier, I guess he agreed with them because he said in the court case that the lawsuit was not frivolous, and that's why he approved it. He even elaborated further and said that current understanding of video game addiction is similar to early awareness of tobacco addiction, and said that the harmful effect of tobacco was not discovered overnight. So he's straight up saying that video games could potentially be as addictive as tobacco, which has an addictive chemical like nicotine in it. I think there's a clear distinction between like nicotine and substance addiction than there is video game addiction. I think that there's a clear line there. There's a big line in the sand. Now, I just think this is silly because it seems like the only people who are going to believe that video games are this addictive are people that also believe that video games cause violence, which are mainly Facebook moms. They're really the only ones that believe in that stuff. The same people who laugh at Minion memes, so, you know, their opinions aren't super valid in the first place. And that's not where the Quebec Supreme Court justice stopped, because he ruled that players who live in Quebec and experience symptoms of addiction after playing the Battle Royale edition of Fortnite since September 1st of 2017 can join in the legal action. I'm just really not wrapping my head around how this became a legitimate court case. It should have just been thrown out and laughed at, because video game addiction in children, especially like younger children, like the 10 and 15-year-old, that can be super easily managed. If you're a parent and you don't want them to be playing the game as much as they are, just take it away. You're the parent. You have access to their consoles to take them away. I know my mom and dad did when I was growing up. I was playing Black Ops 2, trying to hit some wicked trick shots, and my mom would come in and just flip off the internet. I cried about it, I got upset, but I had to deal with it because it's their console, their internet, I'm in their house. I have to listen to my parents. I just think this lawsuit boils down to parents not wanting to blame themselves and wanting to just push the blame on someone else. Like, oh, you made the game, it can't possibly be my fault for letting them play the game, it's your fault for making the game. So the blame's not on me, and now I'm going to sue you. Like, the company's job was to make the best game possible, which is going to result in the most replayability possible, which could, I guess, be interpreted as addiction. But it's a good game. It's a fun game. Back in, like, 2017, 2018, I was playing Fortnite all the time. It's not so good now, but it's a good game. I can see that. I understand it. It's a very successful game for a reason. And what these parents are doing is exactly like that Dr. Phil episode where the kid just cusses out his mom and basically rules over her, and she does everything he says like it's Eric Cartman and his mom. To me, this court case just screams, I'm a bad parent and I want someone else to take the blame. I don't know if it's just me though. But just to hop back on video games being addictive real quick, I understand that they can very easily become addictive. I know I've played video games all my life. I've been recently addicted to Valorant. Not so much as of late, but still, I understand how you can get sucked in and wanting to play game after game after game after game, even though you suck and you're losing every single game. It can be very fun to just go into that cycle of playing over and over and getting slightly better each time. But it's never gotten to the point where I turn into this repulsive monster who shuns society and doesn't practice good hygiene, like showering or going to the bathroom. Like, I don't understand how it gets to that point besides bad parenting. But that's pretty much where this lawsuit comes to an end. There's not much more updates besides that, since this is very fresh. I just wanted to talk about it because I seen it and it's absolutely crazy. I even seen the headline from the 2019 one, but I obviously thought it wasn't going to go anywhere. I thought it would be a nothing burger of a lawsuit, but now it's real. It's actually real. And it's not like this is even Fortnite's first rodeo in the lawsuit department. They've been sued multitudes of times for many different reasons, and they've never really been dunked on in any of them. And this isn't any different. It's not a really strong case to make against them, so I think it's going to turn out the same as the rest of them, or most of the rest of them. It's just going to be nothing, and we're going to forget about it very soon, because it doesn't seem like they have much ground to stand on. But until we do get some updates, I'll catch you in the next one.